He thought it was his sister. So here we go.
Story goes that she was 17 years old when she had him, and her parents said, you're too young to have a kid, and she agreed. They said, we'll raise Jack like he's our own, and we'll tell Jack that you are his older sister. And so he lived his whole life thinking that his older sister was a sister, when in fact his older sister was actually his mum. And it wasn't until he was recording a documentary about his life that they were going through records, and he found out actually his mum.
Or how would you feel about that? I wouldn't know how I feel about that. I know.
I feel like for me, it would... I don't know if it would mess me up. I think it'd just be like a whoa situation. But I think when you actually break it down in your head, I mean, you already love your sister. And so you're probably thinking, I can kind of understand where you were at in life. Like at 17 years old, you just didn't feel ready to raise a child. The fact that I still had a great upbringing with your parents and they loved me like I was their own son, then I guess I wouldn't be as messed up.
All right, Dom, what do you think about
that? That's straight out of a Tyler Perry film, literally. That's literally that movie with Lil Bow Wow. Okay. Okay, so I can tell you how I found out that my mom died. Like that Lucretia was my mom. Like was my
hold on, so you hold on. So you had this is similar to your story?
It's not similar, so y'all, my mom passed away when I was 6 months. And I never shared this with my mom, actually. So I was 6 months when my mom passed away, and my aunt, my mother's sister, raised my big sister Janelle and I. And like my mom had a picture of my birth mom frame, and I think even at one point, I think her obituary was also framed. But I'm a kid, I can't read. Mm-hmm. But I know this person like looks like me in this picture, and I don't really understand who this person is, because it was never talked about. I was never legally adopted by my aunt. My dad is my biological father. He just lived like a few minutes away from us. And how it came out, my maternal grandmother, I guess, got mad at Lucretia for something, and she said to me, like at her house, and that's not your mother. And she said, that's your mother, like pointing to a picture, which was my mom, my birth mom. So that's how I found out.
Oh, and how old were you?
I was like a little kid, and I never said anything because I didn't, kids, we don't want to ruffle people's feathers, but but we're more intelligent. But I knew that was going to start some shit. And so I never said anything. But also when me and my granny, like when we all got in that fight when I got older, I really kind of didn't feel bad for putting hands on her, because like, you know what I mean? But it was like, I never told my mom that. And I think in the last few years, I finally told Janelle, because like, I think Janelle thought that I thought that like, maybe I'm like something happened, like maybe during birth or whatever. I was like, no, I didn't think that. I never thought that. And I said, well, this is...
So no one ever just straight told you, you just figured it out.
Yeah, no, well, I was straight told in an ignorant way, because she was mad at...
But like your dad...
nobody ever said anything to me.
So your dad just how did your dad just one day was just like, he just figured out you just knew? Like, I'm just trying to figure out, like...
I'm going to assume that he was under the impression that maybe Lucretia had a conversation with us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, and I'm saying names to not confuse y'all. Like my mom's name is Jennifer. Like my birth mom name is Jennifer, but my Lucretia is my mama. Like that's who raised me. So I call her, that's mom. So my mom, like we don't really talk about it. Like I think she talks about it more with Janelle than me. And I actually mentioned that to Janelle the other day. No one really says anything to me, about it. And I don't know why it's different. And my sister said, maybe it's just because you look just like mom. And so it's just a really big pain point. And I was like, we're family. We all look alike. So, and my face always changes. So it's not like that it's like I look like different iterations of different people. So I don't know. So yeah, I get it, but it's also at some point, I feel like, especially as he had gained a level of like success and notoriety, I think it's kind of fucked up that they didn't tell him. I think it's kind of selfish because now there's something else that you have to talk to your therapist about and unpack, and you can't have that conversation that you want to have. Like one of the things that even now that I'm experiencing at my big age of 38 is understanding a lot of the things that I've been feeling has been a level of grief and grieving my mom's passing, grieving what was it, what could have been. So that's a whole nother psychological issue that you have to deal with. Like what I want, how old was he when this happened? Because they're saying that a reporter actually told him, like it wasn't his family, never told him. It was a reporter that told him.
Yeah. So he didn't.
So how long ago was this? Because that means at this point,
I'm looking it up now. It was in 1974. Time magazine researchers learned and informed Nicholson that his sister June was actually his mother, and his other sister Lorraine was really his aunt. By the time both his mother and grandmother had died in 1963 and 1970, respectively, on finding out, Nicholson said it was a pretty dramatic event, but it wasn't what I'd call traumatizing. I was pretty well psychologically formed. So his mom died in 63. His mom died 11 years before he found out.
Damn. Like, I wonder what happened, because that's still, she was still fairly young.
Yeah, because he was born in 37. So he was 20. Well, he was 40. No, 26. 36 when this article came out in Time. So
that means he was in his 20s, early 20s when she passed away.
Yeah.
Damn.
Which means she was only 37.
Yeah, my mom passed, she was 32.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just be crazy because like you that's what I'm saying. Like it's like losing a parent like that so young. It's like it also kind of gives you a layer of anxiety. But yeah, I told my sister, I said, yo, man, let me tell you right now, I gotta go before you. I think I'd have a nervous breakdown. She was like, what? I was like, I'm just telling you. I was like,
oh, his mom died of cancer.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, different. Yeah. And so I told her, I just was like,
his birth mother died of cancer.
Yeah. And then I told her, I said, she's like, well, hopefully that won't be for a long time. And when I say like, we're a long time, I don't mean like in our 60s. I mean like we in our 80s. I'm like, okay, but still. So yeah. I was like, I think you would recover better than me. And I mean, and I know how to compartmentalize, but then it'll be like 10 years later, then I'm like having a moment. So yeah. But anyway,
real, man. I was on. Do you remember? I don't know if they do it anymore. I don't know if it's still a trend, but those those TikTok stories that go on for like 55 days and stuff with like part 39. When I found out my man was cheating. One of them things. Remember those were popular a year or two ago. I don't think they are popular as much now, right?
Oh no, okay. I don't know if it's
popular. I just haven't been coming in mind.
I don't know. There's supposed to be another story like on TikTok. Nigga, listen, who sent me this? Tahir sent me a video, and it's this boy in New York, and I'm gonna send you the page, but it's about this apartment that he moved into. It was like him and some people, and it was like a 5-bedroom, so it was 5 people, and it's a crazy story. So
is it like haunted or something? Is it haunted or something?
So it's not haunted. So it's 4 dudes, 1 girl. 1 dude is MIA. He paid the deposit, MIA. They don't know where he is. The girl is crazy. And homeboy already peeped that, she's trying to do some squatters right type shit. like from how she even paid the deposit. It's so good. So he got all these
Okay,
different parts.
send me that. Send me
I'm
that.
gonna send you that. That one's good.
I actually deep dive into one. It was a similar story with the guy. His mom had 2 kids, and he thought it was his parents. He didn't find out till he was like in his 30s, and his mom kept denying it. And they even did a paternity test on it, and that's how he found out. Like his mom kept denying it because his grandparents had passed that he thought was his parents.
Oh shit.
And so his mom was like, "No, I am your sister," or whatever, or whatnot. And was like, and then he ended up taking a DNA not from her, but from his brother that she had that she had later on. That was like maybe like 10 years younger than him. And then they found out they didn't have the same, they weren't biologic, like they basically found out that they are biologically linked by a mother maternally.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was ill. That one was an ill one, man. And he ended up finding his real dad because he finally got her to break down and like tell her who it was. And the dude was like a dude like that, like a LA dude that would kick it on the beach. He ain't never had no kids. He just living, and like a doctor and stuff. Like, and this dude, because he hit him up on Facebook and he was like, "Yeah, I remember her from back in the day, but I don't know. Like, you sure? Like, I ain't got no kids." Ended up, and he said his dad has been like, it took him a while to kind of, like really they did a DNA test, and he was like, he said his dad's been good to him since then, but he was at first he was like, I didn't want
what happened to my uncle. Well, okay, since we spilling tea in business, but I'm listen. Let me tell you, I maybe my calling is to be a writer for real. So, I have an uncle. And my uncle, and he married my aunt on my paternal side. So my Uncle Craig. This is crazy. My Uncle Craig is really good friends with Risha and Will dad, by the way. They like grew up together.
Right, and they got a story similar to that too.
So
they found their oldest brothers recently, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Damn. Okay, so get this. So my Uncle Craig, in his free time, is really into the genealogy thing.
He's on ancestry.com and plugging in people.
Yes, so that's what happened. So I knew I could confirm that 2 of my grandma's kids were full siblings. And I knew it was my dad and my aunt Nisi. So from there, I always said that my Uncle Craig and my Aunt Nee looked just alike. Now, growing up, people, if I went out with my uncle, they would think that I was my uncle's kid.
Okay.
So, and I was like, I guess I'm like, but whatever. But again, I have moments where I look like different family members. I can show y'all. Janelle always look the same. Me, not so much.
Janelle, you do look different in different times. But Janelle does look exactly the same all the time.
Yeah. So, so when they started to, do the DNA test, because he was trying to find my Aunt Margie's father. And my Aunt Sharon that passed away, like spent like a lot of money trying to find her father. I don't know if she ever had the conversation with my grandma or not, or maybe my grandma was just hot in these streets. I don't know. But my grandma.
Did they ever find him?
No. And then he never found my Aunt Margie's father. So, but I always felt like Margie and Sharon were full siblings. We'll never know because like my Aunt Sharon passed away a couple years ago. So, but they looked pretty much just alike. So they were like groups of them. And Uncle Craig, my grandma told him when he finally got it out of my grandma, she said that this other man was his daddy. So fortunately the man was alive. So he went and knocked on the door. The guy was kind of like apprehensive, like, no, I don't think you're one of my kids. But they never did a DNA test. And he just ultimately ended up accepting my uncle as his kid. He went to the funeral. Everything was in the obituary. Nigga, that wasn't his daddy. Nigga, that's my whole full-on uncle. That is my daddy's full sibling. They found out doing the DNA ancestry stuff. Now, plot twist. Then my father's dad had just like passed when they found all of this information.
Oh. But he was raised? But he wasn't raised by your dad's dad.
No, like my dad wasn't. They didn't have a relationship with his dad at all. Like at all. Like there had been rumors that he had other children or whatever. But yeah. So come to find out that my dad's father had 4 kids with my grandma, and none of them.
But he claimed. But they only claimed it was 1.
No, they only claimed that it was 2.
So 2. It was the 2 additional ones that were like, nah, those ain't yours.
So it was the 2 additional that was like, yeah, that's yours, but he never. I mean, he was dead now. Yeah. So yeah, so like my uncle and my aunt that I said that I always thought they were 4 siblings. Yep. They really are. And then my other aunt and my dad, they're 4 siblings. And my aunt Nin was like, they was always trying to say that me and Wayne, my other uncle, had the same dad. And she's like, and I knew looking at him and his height and everything and the things that he would do, we wasn't 4 siblings. But yeah, so then we found. Hey y'all, if you like what you see here on Everyone Needs an Aquarius, be sure to hit that button right there. It'll take you to more clips, and be sure to like, subscribe, and share our podcast. See you back next time.